Hello there. Today I'm going to share my 10 favorite stages of the Camino de Santiago French route. Molly will share her top 10 next week. I had a hard time choosing just 10, and after making the list I can't really say any trends emerged about what made a favorite day. While we expected to prefer trails to paths, seeing animals, and stages with lots of cafes, we didn't expect to love racing storms, really long days, and walking uphill. Without further ado, here are my favorite Camino stages. Day 4 of our Camino. Today we're walking from Pamplona to Puente la Reina. By day 4, our legs were tired and I had some blisters, but our enthusiasm was still strong. We thought this day would be all about the Alto del Perdón, and while that was awesome, the day was full of interesting villages, beautiful views, lots of stops, and early Camino friends. The truth is, there were a few landmarks along the Camino that I was most excited about seeing. The Alto del Perdón was one of those, and it was just as cool as I had imagined. We also loved the old church before it, and thought Obanos and Puente la Reina were both amazing.
Hi Stacey and Molly, nice to meet you. Hello,
Yeah.
Stacey and Molly.
The sun is overpowering today. But Obanos is a beautiful town. We are continuing our way into Puente la Reina, and now we ended the day in Puente la Reina with its lovely main street and the most magnificent medieval bridge in Spain. What a way to end my 10th favorite stage on the Camino Frances. Good morning. It is day 32 of our Camino de Santiago. Today's the day. We're walking into Santiago. My 9th favorite stage was the last stage of the Frances, our walk into Santiago. Until you get into Santiago, this really isn't an exciting walk. But by the time we'd gotten there, we'd met up with friends and got to finish the way together. Yeah, there's the cathedral. You can see it. The excitement of arriving in the old town and at the cathedral gets the blood pumping fast, and we had our family waiting for us at the finish line. Molly's adrenaline was really amped up, and she had to keep stopping to wait on me because I couldn't keep up. I think it was hard for her not to take off running at the end, but there was no way I could have done it. We're here!
We got our compostelas!
Woohoo! After celebrating our arrival, we went to the noon pilgrim mass and got to see the Botafumeiro in action for the first time ever. You never forget your Santiago arrival, and that made this my 9th favorite stage. It's day 2. We're leaving Montes Valles at about 8:30. My 8th favorite stage was filled with animals, cafes, and beautiful Basque villages. This stage was also part of the Hemingway route, and we can see why he chose to set part of the sun also rises here. The Basque architecture and stunning scenery were the stars of the day. This day started with rain, but it didn't last long and only made things even greener. All sorts of interesting bridges and challenging terrain kept the path interesting, as the birds sang to us all day long. The last 5K of this stage had some challenging terrain, and we needed Zubiri to be great when we got there, and it delivered big time. A lovingly restored 400-year-old hotel was there to greet us as we collapsed after our first 2 days to rest Molly's aching leg and my sore toes. Morning. It is day 36. My 7th favorite stage was an up and down walk along the Spanish coast through coastal towns and green forests, all the way to the Roman end of the world. We walked this section with our whole family and the Muddy Buddies, so we enjoyed the company, and there wasn't a single dull minute on this day. A good belly laugh makes every day better, and we got a great one when a bird pooped in my drink at a seaside cafe. Coming out of the forest, turning the corner, and seeing Finisterre was a thrill I'll always remember, and it was great to have Pablo's dad waiting for us at the end. From a chocolate croissant with café con leche to a Belgian waffle covered in chocolate sauce to seafood at the Mochia Parador, this was also one of our best eating days. The views, the food, the company, and celebrating our accomplishment at the 0.0 marker made this one of my favorite stages. Good morning, day 23 of our Camino de Santiago. This stage would probably be even higher up if the weather hadn't been so bad, but the cold, fog, and rain didn't stop us from enjoying our mountain walk from Fontebedon to Ponferrada. We arrived at the Cruz de Ferro surrounded by fog in our first hour, and visiting this landmark of the Camino gave us an early morning boost. Not long after, we ran across an unexpected food truck and had breakfast in nature with an Australian friend. Temporary refuge from the rain. As the fog lifted, amazing expansive views were revealed, and we walked along the wildflower-filled tundra to our first town, Acebo. The terrain this day was really challenging, but by this point we were used to that and could really savor it. Close to the end of this magical day, we walked across a Roman bridge to one of my top 5 Camino towns, Molinaseca, where we had pizza for lunch. The rainy walk through Molinaseca's main street was lined with sleepy dogs and historic buildings, and the last few kilometers into Ponferrada were easy ones. Old mountain villages, beautiful scenery, and ending the day at the Templar Castle in Ponferrada made this one of my favorite days. Good morning. It's day 25 of our Camino de Santiago. We are leaving Villafranca on our way to O Cebreiro. My 5th favorite day featured the walk up to O Cebreiro. If this whole stage would have been like those last 8 kilometers, then this probably would have been in my top 2. Anyone in Travidelo knows that Molly has the hiccups. After 20 kilometers along roads and through small towns, we started the climb. We had anticipated it for weeks, and it did not disappoint. What we didn't anticipate was that the clouds would part while we walked up the mountainside, or that we'd almost be trampled by cows along the trail. Yeah. Lord have mercy. I didn't sign up for the running of the bulls. By the time we got up to the ridge, it had started sprinkling. At least the heavy downpour held off until we were tucked into our hotel. We ended our day with our favorite pilgrim mass of the trip and tapas with friends. The town of O Cebreiro is one I can't wait to revisit. The climb, unexpected trail experiences, and a beautiful mountain village made this one of my favorite days. It's day 14 of our Camino de Santiago French route. Our second day of the Meseta is the only Meseta day that made my list. The walk under the ruins of the Convento de San Antón was probably my single favorite little stretch of path. I absolutely loved the town of Castro Jerez. I wish we had stayed there, and the hilltop ruins and monuments carried us throughout the day. We had breakfast in a really old cafe next to the medieval church outside of Castro Jerez, a picnic snack on top of a breezy hill, and one of our top meals of the trip at our hotel in Boadilla.
We just climbed up a pretty big hill. Wow, look at the view.
This day, along with the stage before it, probably gave us an unrealistic idea of what the Meseta would be like. But it did give us an idea about the amazing sunrises and delicious food that the Meseta would have to offer.
There's next to zero chance we're gonna make it, but we're trying.
Beautiful sunrises, old bridges, a wonderful town, the wheat blowing in the wind, and outrunning a storm made this my fourth favorite day of the Camino.
It's day 26 of our Camino de Santiago. We are walking from O Cebreiro to Tria Castella.
This day had our worst weather of the Camino, so how can it be my third favorite day? The answer is simple: walking with friends and with cows. Why do I love walking with cows so much? I don't really know, but it brings me joy.
We're eating crepes while going through a poop obstacle course. But I worry they won't be.
They're fine, honey. You're blocking them. Blocking the cows.
Move, child. You're blocking my cows. I'm blocking her real friend. No, that was the coolest.
I will be remembering and hoping to relive my cow hike for the rest of my days. Good food and my favorite albergue wrapped up this wonderful third favorite day.
Good morning. It's day 22 of our Camino de Santiago. We are leaving Astorga at 6:30 in the morning, on our way to Fontebedon.
This was the day that we left the Meseta behind and returned to the hills. While we expected some of the days on this list to be favorites, this stage took us by surprise. The weather was decent, the food wasn't special, and it was just the two of us all day. But we had lots of laughs, great conversations, and lots of cats. This was also the day I told Molly she could get her cat, which put her in a great mood. The small villages along the way were perfectly spaced, and walking along the trail lined with crosses was almost surreal.
Maybe there are still Templars living here. It's secret. Maybe the Templar treasure's in this very town. I'm not sure.
That would be cool.
It would be really well hidden if it was
Imagine
here.
if we found
And the climb has started. Through here, people have put crosses along this fence. We're thrilled. We've been walking on a path for at least 10 days. Today, we're walking on a trail.
It may seem weird how excited we were to get back in nature, but it was something that just filled us with joy that day. And Fontebedon was a really neat, tiny mountain village of stone buildings and slate roofs that it just felt like it had been there for hundreds of years unchanged. The villages, the scenery, the laughs, and all of the nature made this one of my favorite days.
So we're in St. Jean, Pied-de-Port, and we're looking for the pilgrim office.
Really cool town. It's probably no surprise that my favorite day was our first day, from St. John Pied-de-Port to Roncesvalles. The day had a rocky start since we had several challenges and had to take a 6 a.m. taxi from Pamplona to St. John just to get there. But there was no line at the friendly pilgrim office, and we found a great place for breakfast before we left. The path was thrilling right from the start. It was cool to be in France with their distinctive architecture and to then get to the trail within 5 kilometers of walking through the iconic arch. The steep uphill to Orison was reasonably crowded, but the pilgrims spread out after that, and we got to enjoy the amazing scenery in relative privacy without feeling alone. We saw plenty of cows, sheep, and horses, but unlike the other days where they were behind fences, here they were right out there with us. Something about that made us feel more like we were with them.
Oh gosh. It's a dead horse. Whoa! 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 Hell up Spain.
The dead horse experience helped us meet our first Camino friends, Kelly and Aaron, and we walked most of the rest of the way to Roncesvalles with them. The excitement, the scenery, the animals, and seeing the old monastery from above and then walking through its doors made this first amazing Camino Frances day my favorite. Everyone's Camino experiences are different. Molly's favorite are different, and we walked through the exact same experience. We just viewed it differently. We'd love to know what you think of my choice of favorites and to know yours. Please leave comments to let us know. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.